Hello, book lovers. Welcome back to Rose and Reads podcast. I'm Sophia.
I'm Haley.
All right, today we are talking Iron Flame.
First part. I'm so pumped for this.
Part 1 of Iron Flame. So we're just going to go through literally the first part of the book because this was 2 parts in this one.
Well, yeah, definitely 2 parts in the book, which I didn't realize till I opened it up.
Me neither.
And then we just have to break this into 2 parts because
there's a lot that happens.
It's a lot. We're not going to go chapter by chapter. I feel like the overviews are really fun to do.
Yeah, let's just overview it.
Bounce around. We're also not going to do an author talk this time because we already did it. However, she has a new series.
I think that's what she announced, that was it Hulu?
Yeah.
Hulu picked it up for a series.
Yeah.
So we can expect that hopefully in the near future, probably not for a couple years at least, though.
Yeah. So that's about it. She's been doing Rebecca Yarros, the author, has been doing so much press on this.
So many interviews.
Holy crap. She was on Good Morning America.
I know. She's literally blowing up. I mean, like, good for her. Good job, Rebecca. You did great.
No, it's been fun. Okay, so let's just dive into this because we're both like itching to talk about it. We're trying not to even discuss it. Like when we see each other in person, we're like, no, let's just save it for the podcast.
Right, exactly. So it's all fresh.
Okay, first overview thoughts on the first part only. What are your overview?
Okay, so honestly, I had to power through the first couple 100 pages. Were kind of rough.
It was about 200 pages.
Yeah, it was just kind of
freaking boring.
It was, Violet was really whiny. The whininess of, like, she's got all these secrets from her friends. She doesn't know if she should tell them. I couldn't get over it.
Zayden, I wanted to shoot them both. It was like, well, oh, you're keeping secrets from me, but no, you want the truth and you want...
I know, the back and forth, it was too much. It's like, okay, make a decision. Let's stick to it. Let's be adults here.
It was pitiful.
It was pretty bad.
And it's like they were trying to be adults about it, like trying to talk it through. And then one little thing, one baby secret, she was like, you're keeping everything from me.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, calm down. You can't be like 1,000% honest with someone. I mean, you can obviously, but you're always going to have...
Well, with somebody who's literally leading a revolution, a secret revolution, like, he's going to have secrets. I mean, and it's just, some of them are going to be for your protection. Some things you just don't need to know, you know?
It just
I don't know.
Maybe over the top. And
it was over the top.
I remember just skimming through a couple pages. Like, I can't listen to her bitch anymore.
No.
Like, I just can't.
I agree. Like, I like Violet, but I think honestly her world was turned upside down. She was a scribe before. She was going to be a scribe. So she's used to, like, facts and what she reads is the truth. And now it turns out everything she was taught is wrong and she doesn't know how to deal. I think that's what she's going through, honestly, like a mental crisis with this.
That's true. But because we start out, so the end of the first book ends with Brennan
dun, dun, dun.
being
Brennan's
alive. And so I feel like I was so excited to start reading this book and be like, Brennan!
Right.
You get like a chapter on him.
Yep, that's it. And then
it was annoying.
Go back to Basgaya.
What?
Like, and he was kind of annoying too. And
he
I'm like, what the heck is this?
Why cannot she? He's like, oh, not that you don't have to be mad, because obviously that's a valid point,
right?
But it was like, you need to get over this. I'm alive.
Yeah.
And she's like, hold up.
Like, I just grieved for you for 6 years. Imagine your brother dying and him actually not being dead, and you thought he was dead for 6 years. I couldn't imagine what that would do to somebody's brain.
And then he's just like, oh, this has been happening, this, and she's trying to take this all in, and you're like
I said, her world is turned upside down.
Yeah.
So she's struggling a bit, our Violet here.
Violence. So we've got Brennan. So then Zayden gives her a choice, like, this is what's happening, and you can either go back to... Right? Doesn't he give her a choice?
Well, the assembly. We are introduced to the assembly, which is like a 5 or 7 person.
It's 6 because then Zayden makes up the 7th.
Right. Okay. So these people who are running the revolution in Eratia, which is Zayden's home, we hear them talking about, like, what they're going to do with these cadets that have just kind of showed up. They broke the rules. They were supposed to be during the war games, but actually they saved a town. Didn't really save the town.
Not really.
No, not really. But
they're basically, like,
they killed some of the Venin. Yeah. They were definitely ambushed. Dane's father was the one who set them up. I mean, all these things happen, and they are trying to decide whether or not they should send the cadets back to Basgaya.
That's right. Well, they make that choice
Mhm.
and they go back.
Mhm.
And so they walk in and do they interrupt like an assembly?
It's graduation.
That's right. It's the ceremony.
It's literally
I have to, like,
graduation.
backtrack.
And like Violet has to convince these cadets that like she can convince her mom
Mhm.
that of whatever lie they're gonna spin, which was I kind of don't even remember what the lie was. It's terrible.
Well, that
They said they were ambushed by griffins. That's what it was.
yes.
Yeah, and then Violet was
Because nobody knows about the
injured.
venom.
Yeah.
So they all know about the griffins or like that
Mhm.
they're out there. And
Mhm.
so they were like, we were ambushed.
Right.
And whatever. And everybody's kind of like, all right.
And since Colonel Atos, Dane's father, was the one who planned all the war games, her mom wasn't even in the planning of it. So she like Violet's like speaking to her mom and is like basically believe me.
Yeah,
You know,
this is what happened.
This is what happened. And her mom sides with her, which I was like, bravo, Lilith. Finally, you show some like, humanity.
And she goes, okay, well, good. And so then they move along with their days and they're just going through class and she is all upset. This is where the whininess of her comes from again, is that she has all these secrets from her friends.
Can't tell Rhiannon or Riddick or Sawyer anything that had happened to protect them. She's also trying to like keep Dane way far away from her because she doesn't want him touching her.
Yeah, right when Dane comes up to her, she goes, "Fucking touch me! Yeah, get the fuck away from me!" And you're like, "Whoa, okay."
Yeah.
Like she really hates him, which she has every right to. He stole her memories to tell her father or his father, what's happening.
Yeah.
And
did you enjoy whatever he told her whenever they went and sparred? Do you remember that part where Violet and him spar?
That was so great.
That was good. I liked that part a lot.
Well, so
I'm jumping forward a little bit.
We're jumping forward, but it doesn't. Dane definitely gets a redemption.
He does, and I'm kind of happy for it.
And we'll get to that a little later. But when they're sparring, he's like, "No, like I didn't read your mind for like the first part,
right?
But then once you started falling for Xaden,
yeah, he like couldn't help himself or something.
Yeah,
and then like he didn't realize what he was doing." And she was like, "You said good luck." And he was like, "I just meant that like you were going to fall in love with him and we wouldn't be friends anymore. Not like I thought you were going to die."
Yeah. In which I think that was really genuine. I really do think that he was like, "I didn't think you were going to die."
Yeah. I couldn't see his colonel father telling him the plan. The actual plan is like, "Oh, we're going to murder these people."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he did. And then I really do think he felt bad for Liam and, who was the other one that died?
So
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I really do think that he didn't want anybody to die. And I think he was just saying like, which you don't really know that at the end of the first book. You're like, damn, Dane. Like,
yeah, I mean, Dane's painted in pretty bad light.
Yeah.
At the end of the first book, everybody was like, "I hate Dane. He's Tamlin 2.0." And now I'm over here like, "Oh, maybe he's not. Maybe he's like a Lucian."
Yes, I really do.
Yeah.
I think he's like the best friend.
Yeah, he's gonna be the best friend.
So we
what else happens before that? Like,
okay, so they're just like going through class. I thought it was kind of boring. It was like they're going through battle briefs. Oh, they're getting all that propaganda, which ends up being real.
Yeah.
So the propaganda.
It was the professor who was the one who put it
Markham,
up.
right, or whatever.
No, Devira. It was the woman professor.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're just like, this is happening and you have to realize it. And they're like, no, this is all being covered up.
The
and
scribes are the ones who are the bad people.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the ones hiding everything from everybody, which I didn't think about that before. Like, I was like, oh, it's, it's the military people, the Dragon Riders at the top. They're the ones hiding everything. But really, it's the scribes.
It's the scribes, and they have all the power to record everything, to not record everything. And you get that from Jesinia when she's talking about, well, we have to tell the truth or not. Like, she's telling Violet that at one point. She's like, well, when books are passed down and we have to transcribe them, we have to do that to the best of our ability.
Right.
But not everybody's doing that.
Yeah. And like, I mean, things are lost in translation and yeah, you just don't know who's willing to tell the truth and who's not.
And so the scribes, you're right, have like all the power.
Yeah. I like that Jesinia joined Violet's side.
I love
her. I love her for it. She's like over here giving her secret books.
So yeah, so Violet's trying to just
little spies. They're being little spies. I like it.
And so she's trying to figure out what the wards are, right? Like, no. So what is she figuring out?
She is trying to figure out how to build wards at Eratia in Tyrandor. So there's a thing called a ward stone which powers the wards. There's one at Basgiath because Basgiath protects the Vale, which is where the dragons are. And this is considered lost magic because they don't know how they brought, like, how they started the wards. Yeah.
They have everything on how to replicate them, right?
Right.
Or like
how to extend
them.
Yes, how to extend them, but there's nothing in the archives that says how they started it.
And the first 6.
The first 6.
Okay, so she's trying to figure out how the first 6 started them.
Right.
So she's reading all these books. Justinia's giving her all these little, they're just going back and forth and they're being so sneaky.
I like the little size.
They're thinking about they're being sneaky, but
they're not being sneaky.
All her friends are like, what is going on?
Rhea is pissed. Is it Rhiannon? Rhiannon? Yeah. I can never.
I thought it was Rhiannon.
That's what I thought too. So
that's how I've been saying it.
Yeah.
And so Rhea is like, I understand she's very understanding, but also at the same time mad. Like
she's like, I know you're lying to me. I know you're keeping some secrets.
You're keeping something from me. I still love you. You're my friend, and I'm gonna be here when you want to talk.
Right.
But it's getting old.
Yeah.
And
so like, I know you're keeping secrets. You're not very good at it.
So
people can read every emotion on your face there, Vi.
Yeah, she literally doesn't lie well at all.
No, I don't think she does.
I think that's what they say throughout the whole books.
I mean, Riddick and Sawyer too. They're like, we know something's going on. Oh man.
And then they get thrown into this
the secret class, that they can't talk about. Nobody in first year knows about it until you get to second year.
And then second year, they're like
the RSC. Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
something like that.
And so then it's the interrogation.
The interrogation and their survival. Yeah.
So there's 2 parts. So the interrogation room, that was intense. They put a chair in the middle of the room and they put Violet in there.
Right. And they thought she was the weaker one.
And then what's his name? Varish.
Oh, I can't stand this man.
So he
made Violet's life a living hell.
Yeah. He's not nice.
No, he's not nice. I mean, like, there's a whole other bit with like Andarna's going through her growing stage, the dreamless sleep or whatever.
Yeah, and she wants to see her, and Violet's like, no.
And then he keeps telling her, man, he almost like killed her whenever he had her doing the lightning strikes.
I know. She gets in trouble because Andarna's not showing up, so like, she's getting in trouble. And then I will say this: the dragon scene between Taryn and Varish's dragon, Solas, where he bites the neck and was like, you do not get to treat any like my human like this.
Right. Well, it was after graduation. It was whenever the cadets from first year got there. They're doing the whole speech up there, and then Solas just starts burning like half of the whole third squad or third wing.
They're all gone. Yeah.
And people are like, what the heck? He's like just murdering cadets that survived Parapet. And so that's when Taryn comes in and is like, absolutely not. This is not going to happen.
Yeah, and you are now abusing my person.
Right.
And you got to stop. And so Varys just like, okay, like I will.
Right.
And does he? Absolutely not.
Nope. He continues to, keep her from seeing Xaden because Xaden's not there anymore. Xaden's now stationed at Samara, I think is what it was called. Yeah. He's having his own time there.
Which also annoying when he comes back and then all they do is bitch at each other.
I know, it's like, why don't you just spend the time doing what we like to read about? Like,
there's no spice in this book.
There's not a whole lot.
There's like 2 scenes.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay. I don't know. It just seems weird every time she throws something in like that. And you're like, weren't you just bitching about how he doesn't give you secrets?
No. I mean,
it's not really.
There is a part in the second part that I'm not going to go into yet that was pretty spicy, but it's just
it's not there. And their connection,
they did it in like the bathhouse at his wherever he's stationed, Samara.
Yeah,
because she thought that
the rain coming down or whatever. But it was
like
a
little cheesy.
It's a little cheesy, but it's also like you spend so much time bitching about him, and then there's like 2 scenes where it's like, okay, this is supposed to be hot and romantic, but it's like,
but then right after she's mad at him again.
She's mad at him, and you're like,
she can't make up her mind. It's like, do you love him or do you hate him there, honey? Which, I mean, anybody who has a husband or boyfriend knows we love and hate them.
Of course. And we're, and like, I guess she's trying to pull at both sides of like, I'm mad at you, but I love you
Mhm.
still. But I don't think she's doing a good job on it. To me, at least, I don't feel like it.
You know, honestly, when I was reading the first part of this book, I thought it felt kind of rushed and like there was a bunch of stuff in there that didn't need to be in there.
No,
Like she didn't need to go back and forth like 15 times, them visiting
it was
Xaden and then him visiting her and all this kind of crap.
no.
I mean,
I understand she's trying to like make it seem like, okay, yeah, time is going on,
right.
going back and forth. The dragons are separated, tensions are high, like all over the place. But it's
Mhm.
like that could have just been
I think that they could have like kind of shortened it down just a little bit and kind of just made it cleaner. It just felt kind of all over the place there for a minute.
well, and they also didn't need so that secret class or whatever has two parts. So the interrogation room,
Mhm.
and then you have the
Survival land
thing.
survival. Yeah.
What's the point of that?
I don't really know. I think it was for them to work with the infantry, kind of get them involved in the book more because we don't really hear a lot for the infantry people. But
And that doesn't play out on anything else.
I know. I think well, whenever she gets at the end of part 1 when she's like being tortured, I think it's supposed to like lead into that kind of thing. But
I guess.
I think it's kind of like an arc that was just a plot line that was just here you go.
Yeah, here you go.
Here's
Like
some extra bit in it.
Yeah, to try to figure it out. They get lost. A dragon comes. and
Right.
there's some sort of.
I don't know. All in all, I liked the book. I liked the first
No,
part,
yeah.
but
We're also pointing out stuff that it's like
I think that it almost felt like some parts were rushed, some parts it was just too much information. And then sometimes it's like, why am I reading this? It's like, why is this a part of the story? So I think she just kind of rushed writing the whole book.
Well, because I think her fan base wanted something out.
Yeah, which I get.
Yeah, and we got it, and I understand.
I'm happy to have it. I'm not complaining,
I
but
liked the book. It's just
there was
just
discussing the details.
Yeah, and there's some parts in it like I didn't think that needed to be said or done,
right?
Whatever. But so the interrogation part, so the first part, let's go to that because
the interrogation, whenever it's her, Riddick, Sawyer, and Rhiannon.
So there's all of them in there, and he's just wailing on Violet.
Yeah, he is.
And she's just like, guys, like, don't break. This is what he's wanting to do, like wanting to happen, and they don't do it. So they walk out of there. Well, she goes to the healer, right?
Yeah, she gets mended by what's that guy's name? I forgot it. It was just there, and then I forgot it. Anyways, that asshole.
I know, I can't remember.
He ends up being my least favorite character of the whole series.
So we're figuring out that he's looking rough, the mender, and who she's known for a long time. Doesn't start with a V2? No.
Don't know.
Oh, this is gonna drive me crazy.
Nolan.
And so she is getting mended by him, and she's like, I don't know. He's like, sorry, I haven't been around. This isn't going to last forever. And he's out for you. Please be careful.
Yeah.
And he's like being a friend. And you're like, okay, good. Like, mend her up. And send her on her way. And also, what are you doing?
Yeah. Something's going on with you because Rhea has been saying, like, something's up with
they're hiding
the healers.
Something.
The healers are hiding something.
Yeah. And she thinks, and Violet thinks that she's on to the venom and everything, which Rhea's not. She just thinks something's happening. They're hiding something. And she's right, because guess who freaking shows up?
Favorite character ever.
Jack freaking Barlow.
This asshat. Oh, and when he shows up, isn't that whenever they're sparring too? Oh, no, that was just in Battle Brief.
No, that wasn't. Yeah. Well,
do you remember
Battle Brief or whatever is when he pops up?
Yeah, that's when they're like, look at what Nolan's been doing. He's been mending this person, which I want to know, A, how did they find him underneath all the rocks? B, how did they get to him in time after all the rocks are on top of him? And C, why would you do it when people die all the time and he was terrible?
Why him?
Why him? Why are we saving him?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I think there's something about that we're going to get in the third book, like why they saved him.
Yeah, because it literally doesn't come out. And so then he's super nice to everybody.
Yeah, everybody loves him. And I'm just like, what happened?
He even like apologizes to Violet, right? He's like, yeah, sorry.
He saves her ass.
Yeah, he saves her at one point, and you're just like, what is going on?
I know.
I don't know. I didn't like that. I was like, you need to get away. And so he pops up. And
I thought, honestly, when I was reading the first part, I was like, okay, well, he had like a come to like he saw his maker whenever he almost died, and he's a better person now. Anyways, we'll talk about that in the second part. But also during the first part, people are dying from like the group that was at Resin whenever they were fighting the Venom. They keep killing off people in their group. There was 8 of them that came back, and they're dying one by one by one. And even like there was an assassin that was sent to kill Violet in sparring.
Yes.
That's how that one girl in their actual squad gets like legit murdered right in front of her because she's like, "Oh, I'm Violet Sorrengail." It's like, be careful what you say there.
And it's that guy from First Wing or the first year that didn't like him. Random first year that didn't like her, but was sent to kill her.
Yeah.
And so you have all these assassins, and they're also trying to murder off Sawyer and Riddick and stuff because they come in and they're like,
Imogen, she's been like targeted a lot. Bodhi, they're all getting attacked, and it's like, this is really dangerous now.
To even going to school.
I was like, damn, they're just trying to kill them off one by one.
Yeah. So I think that's crazy. I don't know what else really happens.
The only other part that I remembered was like, something with the infantry coming to kill Violet, and whenever she's like thrown almost off the turret, and then Jack saves her, Jack Barlow.
Yeah.
That happens, and then they start looking for that damn book, the journal.
Okay, this was a little confusing to me. I don't know if it was for any of you guys, where Jacina figures out,
Jacinia.
Or I'm sorry, Jacinia.
Actually, I think it was Riddick who tells Violet, because remember, he's like, "Oh, there's something that I know that you don't know."
That's right. He like throws it in her face, like, "Oh, you guys are so smart."
The private, because after Violet finally tells her friends what's going on. Yay, Violet, she's truthful. And she's working with Ree and Sawyer and Riddick.
That's right.
Yes.
Sorry, lots is thrown at us, so I can't.
I know, I'm trying to like remember everything too. But Riddick, because Violet was saying, "Oh, they transcribe every text, so even if what we're reading, we don't know if it's the truth."
Yeah.
But then he was like, "Oh, but there's the private journals of the scribes that weren't transcribed, and they've got to be somewhere here."
And she goes, "Wait, what?" And so they think about it, and they're like, "Well, there's the secret passageway or whatever where they're held,
right?
And it can only be
Jacinia has to find that secret passageway because she had never known about it until she went looking.
Yes, and the only way to get in is by the king's descendants, right?
Yes. Oh, we forgot to talk about Eric.
Eric comes in.
Is it Eric or Auric? I was
reading it as Eric.
I was too.
And just they put 2 A's instead of the E's
because that's the Gallic, right?
Yeah,
Gallic version.
So
I said it right the first time, and then I'm going to say it wrong. It's fine.
So they bring him in, so which is also a secret.
Yeah, he's hiding from his dad.
He's hiding from his dad. Nobody knows he's there because obviously he can't get word out,
right?
Because first years aren't supposed to write.
He wanted to go in there because then he wouldn't be able to take him out because once he's in, he's in.
Yep. And he also went in because he knows about Venom.
Right. I know. He's like, "Why do you think I'm here, Violet? Because I figured it out." Yeah.
Like, this is why I'm here. I'm doing this to help save people.
To spite my dad.
And because she calls him Cam. Like,
I think his real name is Cameron.
Cam. And so he's going by a different name to come into the school.
Tari. That's King Tari is the king. Okay, so that would have been his last name.
Yeah,
but he made up some.
He's like under a different name. Nobody knows he's the king's son. And so,
except for this little group who's going to go steal the journal.
Yes, because he's got the blood in him, and he can go in. And so, I didn't understand this part really. Zayden's with them, right? Through this,
yes, it's on one of he comes back.
And he's like, "Wait, you're doing what?" He kind of gets thrown into it, right? He's like, "Well, I'm coming with you."
Right. He's like, "Violet didn't." And the one thing he told Violet when she went back to school was to not go digging for this stuff. And what does she do right off the bat? She goes digging for this stuff.
Well, of course, you have to have some entertainment. And
she just doesn't think it through. Poor thing.
I know. Well, also, like, Xaden is the most powerful person that's ever came out of this school. And so I just don't understand why she doesn't wait for him and is like, Xaden will help me.
Right. My boyfriend will help.
Who I love and I trust. Like,
she's like, "No, I'm going to keep this from him.
I'm going to keep it.
That's the smart thing to do."
Whatever. And so I don't understand. So they're in like the archives area, right?
Right.
In this like secret little wing part.
They have to, they sneak in with like an hour before it closes. They have to go through all the books. This is what I envision. They go through all the books, kind of like a library, and then they go down into a secret tunnel.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then so they only have a certain amount of time because then they'll get trapped in there.
Yeah, if you're trapped in the archives after it closes, there's some kind of magical spell that literally kills you. Yeah.
Like you can't breathe and you die or something like that.
It's to preserve the books, but I think it's to be like, we don't want anybody stealing our shit, so we're going to kill anybody in here.
Yeah. Okay.
It's really fucking scary, by the way.
Could you imagine just being like in your library and like
not realizing what time it is?
Get lost in a book and you freaking die.
You just get murdered on the spot if you don't leave the library soon enough.
That would be our luck. We're sitting here like just entranced in a book and we die.
Yeah. I had my headphones on. I didn't hear anything going on. Whoops.
The little bell. Ding, ding, ding. 15 minutes.
Nope. Dead.
So, well, it's just basically what happens down here. So they're down there.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a part, like a threshold, right? Where only Eric can get in.
Yes, but he
drags Violet with them because they're touching. Is that
right? He's like, I didn't know if it would work.
Yeah, I know.
But I tried it. And Xaden is pissed because he can't get in there. He's like, what? Oh, by the way, Xaden and Eric hate each other.
Shocking.
Everybody hates Xaden. We're shocked that there's another, drama scene with that.
Yeah.
But
so they're like behind this threshold thing. Yeah. And
I pictured like a little cave kind of thing.
Okay, I did too.
Low ceilings, all rock, and just a bunch of dusty old books, and then like an open doorway with Xaden poking his can't get in, just yelling at them.
Like a kind of a clear, blurry thing. Like, I can't get to you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I did too. Sometimes it's really hard for me to picture stuff that's going on in these books. I don't understand why. I don't know if it's her style of writing.
This one, I have a worse time picturing. Like other fantasy novels that I've read, I picture it great. Like
Me too.
Throne of Glass is so vivid in my mind.
Clear.
Yes.
Clear as can be. This is really difficult for me.
That's why I think her writing is a little rushed. Like I don't know another word for it, but it just feels rushed.
And the dragon scenes when the dragons are fighting,
God.
It's very rushed, and I semi just picture blurbs a little bit. And it's like, okay, I think this is what's going on. So I'm glad I got the book thing right where they're down there because I wanted to make sure that's clear because then they find the book.
It takes them forever, but yes, they find it.
They find it.
It's literally like in the desk or something, right? It was. That's what I pictured. He's like, oh, they're right here.
Yeah.
Instead of on all these shelves, they're right in front of us. It's
literally right in front of us. And so they pick it up. They come out.
And they've got to like rush to get out of there. They only have like 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Yeah. Which I thought that was a kind of cool scene. Just because it gave you some action. And I was like, I don't know if anybody's actually going to be stuck in here. Like, I really thought maybe she would kill off somebody.
I thought somebody was going to die too. Like Sawyer or somebody.
And I was like, oh, this is going to be really a sad death. And she's really going to kill off somebody, but she didn't.
Nope. Nobody died from the closing door. But so they get out. They were in scribe's clothes when they were in there. And they get out. They change back into their clothes. But poor Violet forgot to change the bag.
This is what's so sad is that the bag is cream, just like a scribe would have.
Yeah.
But all their bags, because their writers are in black.
Yeah. And so whenever they went into the place with the books, it tripped some kind of alarm for the scribes. So the head scribe, Markham, knew right whenever it happened. And they were looking around for anybody who, had something with the scribes. I don't know. But Violet was the one with the satchel, with the book in it. Thankfully, she gave the other one to Xaden. So Xaden has a copy and she has a copy. She has the cream bag. Nolan comes up and basically doses her. And now she wakes up in a chamber.
Which Nolan then flips. And so you're like, oh, he's like a nice person and everything. And he's like, you need to drink this.
Yeah.
Right? Or does he just put something over her face, like, and makes her breathe it in?
I don't remember what he does. Oh my gosh.
It's so sneaky.
It was really sneaky and it's
fast. And you're just like, what the fuck?
I know. I was like, oh my God, was that? I remember having to reread it because I was like, was that the healer? It was the healer guy who came and got her. This old man who's been healing her for years.
And so that's why she stops and talks to him. And she's just like, well, it's just Nolan. It's fine. Yeah. And she trusts him. And then he literally does something. We can't really remember the whole details about it, but does something, and she passes out.
Yeah.
And she wakes up in that interrogation chamber.
Varys has got her
strapped to the chair.
Yep.
And he's like, haha, your friends aren't going to get you here.
And he's like, she's spiraling in her head. She's like, okay, Xaden doesn't know I'm here. Nobody knows I'm here.
I can't get to Terrence. They gave me that juice.
Yeah,
to
they
block
keep giving
out.
her the serum blocker,
Mhm.
the signet blocker. I'm sorry, excuse me, signet blocker, which I think is really effed up. Like, this is a new thing that they've been doing so that they can block out people's signets, which they've never done that before.
No,
I think it's messed up, man.
And so they've started doing that, I think, as a torture thing, so that when they can get information from other people.
Right.
I think that's exactly what it's for. And he's abusing it to a student, which is crazy. And
in the normal world, this would obviously never fly. Can't torture your students.
No. And not only does the torturing, this is what I don't.
She's in there for like 5 days.
I don't like torture, and I don't like torture in books, in movies like Game of Thrones. Like when all that torturing happens, I'll literally have to either fast forward or kind of turn away, and I'm like, okay, I get it. They're torturing, and it was.
Oh, you're gonna have.
It was hard time reading these scenes because she completely, and this is what happens when people are tortured in real life, is they compartmentalize.
Yeah.
And they literally go outside their body to try to go somewhere else.
Yep.
And while this extreme torturing is happening. And that's exactly what he's doing to her. He beats her and beats her and beats her. Nolan comes in, mends her,
and then he beats her
again. And it happens over and not just twice, not just 3 times. Like it's happening over and over and over again.
And they want to know where the revolution is, basically.
And she's just not talking.
No, she's not talking. She didn't break until then they bring in Dane to take her memories.
Yeah.
And Varys is like,
this is after 5 days. So she's been in here 5 days. All her friends are they now know something's wrong. Like where the hell is Violet?
Right.
And so later on, after this whole thing, we know that they actually tried to find her and like attack somebody. They were like, I don't know, like go on with it. But Dane, they bring in Dane.
And Dane's like, I think he's just like shocked because he's like, what is going on? Like, we've been looking for you. Have you been here this whole time? And then Varys tries to turn him against her.
Yes.
Saying like, oh, she'll never love you. She's part of the revolution. You need to take her memories for your country, for the good of Navarre.
Yeah.
Kind of bullshit crap.
And he's just looking at his best friend, mind you. Like, I know they're in a fight, whatever, but he's looking at his childhood friend being completely tortured, and he knows it. And he's like, okay, well, this isn't going to fly. And so he makes up something like, okay, yeah, like I'll help.
Yeah, he acts all pissed off, like it's working. Like Varys is gonna, and he yells at Violet. He's like, "You're something." I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, and it seems like
you haven't been talking to me. I have no idea what's going on. I can't trust you. And then he stabs Varys instead of.
That was great.
I was so happy.
He has the dagger out, and he goes like, I think he goes to like towards Violet.
Yeah.
And he turns around
like,
and he stabs Varys, and everybody's just like, what the fuck?
I know. Thank God he made that choice, because like right after Xaden shows up, and Xaden's about to murder Dane, like straight up murder him.
He goes right up to him. Varys is dying. He's not dead yet.
Dying.
But he's dying. Gets everybody, he breaks down all the doors, goes through. He's murdered like tons of people going into this room, which snapping a finger. Like, it wasn't really hard for him.
You're all dead with my shadows. Look at that.
Look, I didn't even touch you. Nope. So he just walks in.
It's great.
And he gets Violet out of the chair, and I think he gives a choice like, do you want to murder him?
Yeah.
And
he was going something with Nolan too. Did Nolan get out? Yes.
Yeah.
He did get out.
Yeah, Nolan gets out. And but he goes, do you want to murder him? And Violet doesn't murder people like just to murder them. She doesn't. She has to have in battle or something. Like I think she only has killed Jack, right? Like
that's the only, I mean, besides like the Venom and the Wyvern, but that's the only person she's killed.
Because she
didn't kill him. He's still around.
He's still around. And so she looks at Xaden and she's like, yeah, I'm gonna kill him. And then
she tries, but she doesn't have the strength.
She doesn't have the strength.
Poor baby.
I know. So I think Xaden does, right? Or
she's doing it, but Xaden kind of gives her a push. Give her a little push in there.
Yeah, she just doesn't have this. She's so weak. And
then they got to decide what they're gonna do. They run into her mom, This part was good.
This part was good. She gives her a serum, to the anti-serum, to like say, hey, this is gonna clear your mind so your signet can come back. And you're just like, okay, what? You're just kind of shocked.
Yeah, and then we find out that Lilith had like a deal with Xaden this whole time. And Violet's like, wait, what? There's a deal? Lilith, I don't know. There's something going on with Lilith and Xaden, and you find out her mom is just not as bad as we think. Like, yes, she's hiding the venom from everybody, but she says,
which is bad.
Yeah, it's terrible. But she said she did it to protect her own children. She's like, until you have kids, you won't know why. Which, I mean, I kind of get it. Like, if there was some earth magic sucking blood people out there, I'd be like doing anything to protect my kids.
Yeah, and that's what you do as a mom. And I don't think Violet understands that.
No, she obviously doesn't.
Yeah, she's just saying, well, you're doing the best for yourself and for the school,
right?
But it's not the best for everybody else. All the civilians are getting killed day after day,
right?
And you're just letting it happen.
That part was really kind of confusing to me. Whenever her mom shows up, they're like in some hallway. Xaden gives them privacy, and then they decide to go and tell the entire college.
So I don't understand that either. How do they get away with like rounding everybody up and saying, come with me? Aren't there professors? Aren't there like
we forgot about this part. I totally forgot about it until we were talking. The way Xaden gets there and all the professors are gone is because Xaden starts dropping dead wyvern everywhere, and all the professors are gone to like clean it up. And so it's basically a kid free for all. Well, they're not kids, young adult free for all at the college. And then Dane's up there like, "You must join us." I know. I thought that part was so cheesy and so great at the same time.
It's so great because
Violet's like, I didn't have this in mind whenever I told them that we were gonna, get all the people to join us.
Yeah,
Dane's up there just rallying the troops.
It's like in a big assembly, and it's just like, wait, what's going on? We have to leave our school. We have to leave everything we've ever known because this is happening. And then they get their dragons to tell them the truth too.
Yeah, and some of the dragons are like, they want to fight the venom, but some don't want to leave. So like.
No, well, there's also the veil there, and so they don't want the dragons. Some of them don't want to leave. They're like, no, this is my house,
right? And I'm not leaving, and neither are you. So it's like some of the dragons gave their riders a choice, whereas some of them just don't. You know, it's like, no, we're not leaving. Yep, I don't care if you want to. We're not. We're staying here.
Which, if your dragon doesn't go, you don't go.
I do like how she has the dragons in this book. I don't think like a lot of people portray them like this, where they have their own, like they have their own council, the Empyrean.
Yep.
They make all the decisions. Like you don't tell dragons what to do. I liked that a lot. They have their own personalities. They get to like mind speak, which we've never. There's not a lot of like
different books have mind speaking between people,
right?
But to be able to talk to your dragon,
I think that's cool.
I think that's really neat. I also like the shields part where you can block them out. Like they can't really read your mind. And which is neat. It's literally just me and you talking back and forth in our heads,
right?
Without our mouths.
It's like
speaking.
Not being an intrinsic.
Yes. So we
But yeah, that happens. They steal all the cadets and they go to Erasure. And Brennan's like, "What have you done?"
And they're like, "You needed writers."
Yeah, here's a bunch of them, a bunch of untrained first, second, and third years at a war college. At this point, I was like, "What?"
It was just silly. I don't know. I thought it was silly after a crazy intense scene of getting tortured, and then literally the next
just
chapter,
tell everybody.
They're just like, "This is happening," and you're like, "You've been keeping it secrets for so long, and now all of a sudden it's just gonna be blurred out."
I know. That's what
I don't know.
I wasn't the biggest fan of that. I was just like, "What? What do you mean they're gonna just leave the college?"
Oh, they fucking just up and left.
I know.
They had 1 hour.
I know. It's just insanity to me, but it is what it is.
Well, like we said, it's a little rushed, but it's fine.
I think this one was like a story building arc. Like she's trying to get to a place.
Yeah.
For the last 3 books kind of thing. Also, are we calling this series the Empyrean? I know that's what it's called, but are we calling it like Fourth Wing for the whole thing, or are we calling it the Empyrean? Like when we talk about it.
Oh, the Empyrean series.
The Empyrean series.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Fourth Wing's just the first
book,
and that's what everybody knows.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like it's Iron Flame just came out, so if people really start talking about Iron Flame, just like when we say A Court of Thorns and Roses,
it's still A Court of Thorns and Roses,
and we still know what we're talking about that whole series.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can say, I guess,
Fourth Wing.
Fourth Wing.
I feel
And
like that's
people
what
know.
people are doing online, is still calling it like the Fourth Wing series, even though it's the Empyrean
Empyrean
series.
series.
But like A Court of Thorns and Roses doesn't have a name for the series. It's just that
True.
first book.
True.
Same with like Throne of Glass. It doesn't have a name for the series. It's just Throne of Glass.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's why people are saying Fourth Wing.
Fourth Wing. I know. I feel like it's just
I feel like she Rebecca Yarros, the author, wants it to be the Empyrean series.
Right.
Which is fine. I'm glad to say that.
I just want to know, we haven't gotten a lot of the Empyrean. Like, they had that one meeting in the first book.
Taryn mentions it in this book a little bit. The second part kind of comes in.
We'll get into with the next episode. But it's just like, they haven't really talked a whole lot about it.
Well,
maybe it's coming. Maybe it's coming.
You said that there's 5 books in this, right?
There's supposed to be 5.
Supposed to be.
So we have 3 more coming.
So these are huge books. There's so much information thrown at us from all which way.
Oh, yeah.
And then especially in the second part, we get a lot more. So I can't wait to dive into that. But
same.
So
oh, my gosh.
Maybe literally the whole last 3, we have no idea.
I know. Are going to be setting up for something to happen. I'm like, what is going to happen? Because all of my theories were kind of thrown. Some theories were proven in the second part of this book, but a lot of them were thrown out the window. Because I'm like, oh, they do go back to the college. They are trying to like just keep the secret, but then they blow up the secret, and now it's like, I don't know. They're just going to be fighting Venom for the last 3 books,
which will get old. So
I know.
So
something else
has got to happen. That's where her storytelling has to change.
Yeah,
or else you're going to lose readers. You're not going to lose them. Like, well, obviously, I'll read all 5. But
I'm definitely going to read all 5.
But it's going to taper down to say this isn't any good.
Yeah, it's like, okay, the first one was great, second one was third one was meh, and then it goes
sour from there.
But I hope that's not the case. I hope the next one's like great, and we're like, oh, it ties up some loose ends, and we move on.
Yeah. Well, I think the first part of this definitely set it up. We know our ups and downs on it.
Right.
What do you rate it?
For the first part?
Yeah, just the first part. Just for right now. Like,
first part, I'll give it, because I really didn't like the beginning. I'm gonna give it like a 7. Yeah, it's a 7 for me. I liked the last like 100 pages of that first part. But
yeah,
once Jack Barlow came back, I was in for it.
Yeah. I will say I remember texting you going, I literally can't get through 50 pages of this.
I know. I was like, just keep going. You can do it. You can do it.
This is going to be rough. I don't even know if I'll be able to finish it by the podcast day to record this. And I was like, well, I have to, at least for the first part.
Right.
And obviously I got farther into it, but I'm going to have to say this whole first part, I was like a 5.5.
Yeah. I think I overrated at a 7.
Because the whole first part, it was so boring. Like we said, I'm not going to keep repeating it, but it's that. But then at the very end, the torture scenes and kind of some other stuff really pulled it up. You were like, okay,
it's like, now the story's getting better.
It's getting better. Yeah. And now there's part 2, which is about to happen. And so there's got to be some crazy
I know. I'm
stuff.
itching to talk about it. So we've got to stop it here because I can't.
I think we're at a good stopping point.
I think so too.
Obviously we can't rename anything at the moment.
No, because we have to get through the second part.
Who would you kill off?
I'd be killing off that healer man, Nolan. He got to go.
I have him down too because he is such
a little snake.
When that happened, it was such a twist to me.
I know. I was like, oh, the healer
who she's trusted for her whole life.
Right.
Because he knows that she's all brittle and stuff.
Terrible. Just terrible, Nolan. Just despicable. Not happy with it.
So, well, like you said, I think this is a good stopping point.
Yep.
To where we need to be for next week for part 2.
Part 2, Iron Flame. If you haven't read it, go read it and then come back and join us.
Real quick, guys. Yes. I want to talk to you about our midnight release party. Just real quick before I want to touch on it because it was so much fun. And I want to give a shout out to Two Friends Bookstore.
Two Friends Books. Monica and Rachel, y'all are the best. We had the best time. It was so much fun. The trivia.
They did trivia and like 2 little special cocktails that were so sweet. I think one was called the Andarna.
The Andarna. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I liked it.
And we obviously had our t-shirts made for it.
Yep.
And
Best Gaia.
It was really fun. So we did that. They had fan art, and then we got the book, which is it's huge.
It was a big book. It was bigger than I was expecting.
It's pretty.
It's
I really like
pretty.
It.
Whoever's doing the
design work,
kudos to you. It's very, very aesthetically pleasing.
It is. And so we just had a really good time with that, and I really wish other books would do midnight release parties because they're really fun.
Yeah, I actually asked them if they were gonna do the Crescent City 3 midnight release in January. And
she
she's
was
like,
like,
"Oh, maybe do you think I should?" I was like, "Uh-huh.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I think everybody here would go to that."
So maybe we'll stay tuned and we'll go to some more little parties here for you.
Oh, I hope so.
Get some content.
Yeah, those were good. That was fun.
Well, guys, please rate us on Spotify if you haven't done so already, or Apple Podcasts,
Mhm.
and follow us on Instagram. I know, still can't
TikTok.
talk.
Yep. We've got all the things. You can watch our actual videos on YouTube. Those are up now. Sorry that they weren't up before, but they are up now. And I think that's it.
I think that's it. So we will do part 2 next week.
Yep. All right. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Sophia.
I'm Haley.
Until next time, guys.
Bye.
Bye.